Good afternoon, Buffaloes Nation. Welcome into another edition of the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy podcast, the Buffaloes podcast. Here on your home for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy coverage, G-Show Productions. We're live on our website right now, gshow.ca, as well as on our YouTube channel, brought to you by Terrico Movement, Fitness, and Performance, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Elite Prospects, and Gordie Tumilson's brand in goaltenders. We're going to hear from Gordie second in today's show. First off, we're going to throw it to an interview with two goaltenders from the academy in Yuki Kido, goaltender from Japan, as well as, a goaltender in Gavin Hildebrand, more of a local product as he hails from Manitoba. But yeah, before we get into anything, just want to let you all know that if you're interested and you qualify to be in this division in terms of your age range, male U17 Prep Evaluation Camp coming up on April 24th, running until the 26th at Blackjack Stewart Arena. Check out Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's website as well as their social media pages for all the info. And yeah, one of the most historic players from this U17 program, Brett Tataryn, former Pilot Mound captain, moved on to play junior hockey. So yeah, the path to playing hockey outside of Pilot Mound afterwards is quite possible if everything ends up working out for yourself. So yeah, pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com is where you can find more details about this camp, as well as PM Buffaloes. They're also going to be introducing a new tournament, a PMHA AAA tournament, where it'll be 2013 born players. That's running from May 22nd till the 24th. Me and Gordie are going to talk about this more in our interview, our segment coming up. But yeah, 8 team spots, 4 guaranteed games. Fun on the ice after the season has ended, but spring season, of course, picks up around that time. So if you're interested, if you are a spring team, be sure to reach out to Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, and perhaps you could grab a spot in what's going to be their first annual Prairie Classic. Be sure to also email Dane at pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com, as he has all the info, kind of the organizer of this event. But we're going to get into the interview that I did with Yuki Kido and Gavin Hildebrand coming up next, as it's great to hear from both of these two goaltenders who have started to make a name for themselves down in Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. Yuki just spent time playing with his national team, which is pretty cool. As for Gavin, he could potentially have a junior hockey opportunity next season. So we're going to get into all of that coming up next on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast on this Friday afternoon on G-Show Productions and gshow.ca. Gavin Hildebrand, Yuki Kido, two goaltenders from the U17 Prep Buffaloes squad here joining the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy podcast. Fellas, I know for Gavin, it's your third year down in Pilot Mound. Yuki, it's your second year. How's this season been treating you two so far? It seems like it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, this season's really good for both of us, and our team's thriving right now. We've taken down a couple teams maybe we shouldn't have beat, but that's a team effort there.
What about from your perspective of things, Yuki?
Uh, yeah, I think it's going pretty good, and yeah, we beat a couple big teams and having fun. We had a little losing streak in the middle, but we came back and we're going and making up for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, starting to try to play your guys' hockey at the most important time possible, right? As playoffs are going to be approaching soon. Like you spoke about Yuki just now, there's been, of course, some ups and downs so far this year. What do you boys feel like this says about this year's group of Buffaloes, this U17 group, that this team's been able to show that resiliency this season?
Yeah, I think this team's been able to deal with diversity lately, but they always show up to practice with a hard work ethic and always trying to better themselves, which is always great because we see the progress there.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, for this team coming off of a 5-4 victory against OHA Edmonton, also beating Nax by a score of 3-2. So when this team's able to go out and beat big name programs like that, I mean, it feels so good. I bet, like we just talked about. But what would you say would be the biggest strengths of what this team was able to do this past weekend, being able to, I guess, 2 weekends ago now, being able to put up that type of performance?
I think just not giving it up, and like we were down by like two in the first period, but we just kept going and pushing and just able to win that game.
Yeah, and I mean, for you guys being able to go out and beat teams like OHA Edmonton, Nax, that's absolutely big time. Especially bouncing back after they gave you guys a loss in each game the weekend before or close to that. But for Gavin, you talked about it beforehand before we started this interview. It's your third year now in Pilot Mound. You've been able to get some Team Manitoba recognition. Also, of course, being able to get recognition from the junior side of things, having your rights signed with Niverville. Talk about what that journey's been like, what Pilot Mound's been able to do for you, I guess, throughout these past 3 seasons to this point.
Yeah, it's been amazing what the Pot Mountain has been able to do for me. They've helped me all the way to where I am right now, and they were able to get my name and a couple other guys their names out to Niverville, and right now I'm just trying to make that team and see where it takes me.
And for yourself, having a chance to go into junior right away, has that always kind of been the goal? You want to try to jump to that next level as soon as you can?
Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, I still want to make sure I'm being the best I can and being a good goalie at the level I'm at right now and making sure I'm still playing good at a higher level. So always just taking it one step at a time for me.
For sure, for sure. Before I get into asking Yuki this upcoming question, I'll ask you one last one, Gavin. In terms of just, I guess, how you felt your game is grown, where would you say that you've probably seen the most improvement throughout your 3 years here?
Probably my most improvement would be my confidence within my game. I've my first year I struggled a little bit with confidence, but now I feel like I've found that, gotten comfortable to the area I'm in, and now I'm just feel a lot calmer in the net. I'm just able to do my job without any worry.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just so freeing, right? That you're able to go out and play at a high level, and I mean, it just kind of seems seamless in your mental state. So great to hear about that, and awesome to hear about the recognition that you've been able to receive. Wishing you the best in your upcoming future with Niverville. As for yourself, Yuki, you've been able to get recognized by your national team recently, being able to play for Team Japan. First off, I mean, an amazing experience for you. I bet. Is that always been a dream for yourself to be able to put on your national team's colors, but to be able to do that, actually being able to do that, I'm sure was pretty surreal.
Yeah, it was my dream to play in a national team, and like just watching the big like national team guys playing. It was just my goal, like one goal to get there, and I'm happy that I got recognized there.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I bet it was quite a process for you to be able to make that team. Take us through how it ended up being for yourself to be able to land a spot on your national team this year.
Pardon.
So, how did it happen in terms of you being able to play for your national team in Japan?
It kind of happened like quicker than I thought. I thought I wouldn't make the team, but just found me and played there. Had a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest history, right? You get to play for national team this year in a U18 event. How you guys do, by the way, being able to compete against the opponents you guys competed against? Were you guys able to go pretty far in the tournament?
It wasn't really like a tournament. We just played three teams. We get like three games each, and we won two of them, and we lost one against Hungary.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, being able to go two and one at any event is always pretty good, right? How much pride do you take in the fact that Japan was able to make such an impact in a tournament like that against the teams this team went up against?
I think it was really good to like beat other national teams and being able to play in those games and just have fun there. That was really good.
Oh, I bet. And I mean, what a surreal experience for yourself. Congratulations once again. Hopefully, I mean, you're able to take away from that experience and use it to the benefit of your Buffaloes. What would you say was probably the biggest thing you took away from that experience from a positive standpoint? It could be one thing in particular, just the general experience in general.
I say pressure because in national teams there's a lot more coaches and stuff like evaluating yourself and just playing through that pressure. Yeah, I kind of got used to it, and it's really working well for my Buffaloes experience too.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, pressure is always going to be there, right? It's always going to exist, and the more you can be able to go out there and handle it the way that, you've been able to, Yuki, as well as yourself, Gavin, I feel like any team would be happy to have y'all as their goaltenders moving forward. Lots of work still left to be done for this Buffaloes group before playoffs. I know this team just came off of playing RHA Winnipeg over the past weekend down in Pilot Mound. But what's, I guess, that mindset heading into the final part of the season for this group? What this group is, I guess, looking to achieve heading into playoffs?
Yeah, I think this group is just trying to make it all the way, make it to playoffs, but not looking too far ahead. We're just focusing on one game at a time and playing a full 60 every game in and game out until playoffs.
For sure. And I mean, definitely going to need it against the teams. This team's going up against some pretty good ones. For yourself, Yuki, take us through, I guess, what you yourself do to be able to get ready for your upcoming games. Is it anything in particular? Is it I would love to hear what your, I guess, routine is to get ready in a given week for a game day.
I just keep working on my improvement and just doing the same thing, being comfortable and just be ready every game.
Well, certainly can't wait to see when you do get that call next with this Pilot Mound U17 squad. For yourself, Gavin, this being your third season now in terms of, I guess, the experiences this team's gone through. I mean, this team's going to be going to Enoch, Alberta, coming up next against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy. Is there anything in particular that sticks out in your mind this season in terms of the travel that this team's done, a favorite place that you've been to, or have the first two seasons kind of, I guess, um, kind of brought that already for yourself?
Oh yeah, I think this season we just got a great group of guys. That's what sticks out to me most is everybody gets along together. We've had very few issues to none, and they're just everybody's friends on and off the ice, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, for this U17 Buffaloes group, strong type of locker room and the skill they have, I think that good things are potentially in store for this team coming up during playoff time. And I mean, they got two great goaltenders to backstop them, Yuki Kito and Gavin Hillebrand. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, which wishing you two the best moving forward this upcoming weekend for the rest of the way this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
two U17 goaltenders in Yuki Kito from Japan, as well as Gavin Hildebrand, joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Great to ask Yuki about his experience competing for his national team. Asking both of them about what the journey has been like in Pilot Mound, Manitoba. And two goaltenders, as me and Gordie are going to be talking about coming up in this next segment, that have a chance to potentially just go to the U18 level next year, skipping that second year of U17. But before we get into anything else, I just want to take you through the schedules for this upcoming weekend, as we're going to be touching on these matchups. Me and Gordie, U15 male prep Buffaloes will be in Abbotsford, BC, take on three CSSHL opponents, three tough matchups coming up for the U15s. As for Hildebrand and Kito's male U17 Prep Buffaloes, they're taking a trip down to Edmonton, Alberta, where they'll be facing off against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, BWC Academy, and the Wenatchee Wild. All those games, as well as the U15 matchups, can be seen on Flow Hockey, on Flow Sports. For the female U18 Prep Buffaloes, they're going down to Winnipeg to compete against teams in OHA Black, Delta Black, and Shawnigan Lake School. Flow Sports, Flow Hockey will have the live streams for those games, and then they'll also have a live stream for these games in the male U18 Prep Buffaloes as they take on Yale Hockey Academy, Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, and North Shore Warriors coming up on, this upcoming weekend in Calgary, Alberta. As the upcoming schedules for the Academy, brought to you by one of Pilot Mound's sponsors in Canacom Group Travel. As also, congratulations to Knox Burden on being named to the first team All-Star team from last week's CSSHL East-West Challenge. Had himself quite a weekend, and a big reason why Pilot Mound was able to get victories was not only because of their strong play, but also the strong play of this individual in particular. And Knox Burden, by the way, we had him on the show last week. Be sure to check out episode 21 to hear from Knox, as well as goaltender from the U18s in Adam Korshen. But coming up next to talk all things Buffaloes with me, we get into a bit of marketing as well. It's going to be Gordie Tumilson joining the show next. First, we're going to hit you with a commercial break, and then we'll be back here with Gordie on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, as we'll keep it rolling here on this Friday afternoon. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Lots to get into as always, and very excited to do so. It's also supposed to be a crazy snowstorm here in Manitoba, they say, Gordie. Luckily, Winnipeg, crossing my fingers, it doesn't hit us fully, but I mean, Mother Nature may have other plans. As for the U15s, they took a trip down to Thunder Bay, Ontario over the past weekend and came away with 2 wins. All really good matches for them, as even in their losses, they kept things competitive and close. Take us through what the weekend was like for the U15s, truly.
Yeah, 4 games in a couple of days. It's a busy schedule for kids, and they get tired. But we seem to have more energy in the 4th game than we maybe did in some of the earlier ones. I don't know, but winning the last game 5-0 over Grand Rapids, nice win. And those are all-star teams that come up out of the states in this case. I think Edina, Duluth, and Grand Rapids all sent teams, and good teams. Yeah, we lost 2 by 3-0,
And
6
2 to 1
2 to
to
1.
Madison. Yeah.
Yeah, and won our first game 6-5, Kevin, in one of those games that coaches don't like because there's too many goals against. Certainly the goalies don't like it, I can tell you that right now. But anyhow, so yeah, that was a very competitive weekend. Good to play other teams. good to have us playing in places where other teams can see us, other kids can see us play, and maybe want to come to Pilot Mound and go, "Hey, I like to play on that team." We get a lot of good players come to Pilot Mound because they see us somewhere else. Yeah.
It's a great marketing tactic in itself, right?
Yep.
Literally
Yep.
just being able to see the team actually play in these different showcases, which, of course, Pilot Mound, they've done a great job of putting their teams in these different showcases tournaments throughout the time the academy has existed. But you talked about the energy in that fourth game seemed a bit higher. They're able to come away with their biggest win of the two, a 5-0 victory over Grand Rapids with playoff time coming up. You're going to play a lot of games in a short amount of time. How huge is that to see this from this group, to see the finish being much stronger than the start?
Yeah, good. I mean, having that much energy to go out and just dominate another team, whether the team was any good or not, I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but at the end of the day, to have that kind of domination and have the energy to play in a fourth game in 2 days is really neat, and that bodes well for playoffs where you've got lots of energy to go. You can go, and you do. I know they've got 3 games or 3 games this coming weekend in Abbotsford. So, that's going to be a long bus trip, a 2-day bus trip. Lots of energy required to continue on playing against CSSHL teams. And that's part of, having the energy is part of the extra fitness, part of the extra nutrition, part of the extra ice time that these kids get in Pilot Mound that other teams might not have the same access to. And so, as the boys from the U18 team talked about, having those things at your fingertips really makes it easier and better, no doubt, for our kids to be maybe a step ahead on the fitness side so that even if you're not quite as skilled, if you're trying really hard, which you should be, then your fitness may take over and give you that little extra edge that you might need, in late games and overtime and those kinds of things.
A glowing endorsement right there for Pilot Mound. And yeah, I mean, all the extra work paying off, it seems like here as the seasons continue to go along for this U15 Prep Buffaloes group who's been playing some decent hockey as of late. They'll be in Abbotsford, British Columbia this upcoming weekend to take on CSSHL opponents in OHA Penticton, Star Academy, and the North Shore Warriors. Moving on to the U17s, Gordie, who, by the way, just had Yuki Hito and Gavin Hildebrand on the show before your segment's airing this week. They had one game on Valentine's Day on Saturday. Seems like it's usually always close between these two teams as of late, RHA and the U17s. Another close battle, unfortunately, going in the direction of RHA, but great for this team to know that, you're able to go out and compete with a big rival.
Well, proud to say that our goalkeeping kept that game a bit closer than it might otherwise have been, and that's been the word for a long time now with these two goalie kids that we've gotten, and they're both on the show, so it's good timing, I guess. But I think Gavin made about 60 saves in that game, and when they probably had 40 shots at the other guy. So, we lost 5-4 in OT, and that's the way that goes. But you know what? Our goalies get a good workout. We get to play against really good competition, and we learn every time we play against these guys. And that's the nature of the beast. When you're from a small place, you're not necessarily going to have the top end players, but boy, they can play top end hockey, and our guys do. The degree of difficulty on shots. I took a look at the because they give us a nice record of where the shots are all coming from, and typically there's a lot from pretty close in. Well, this wasn't as many shots from close in where there are high scoring opportunities. There were a bit more from outside where the goalies have a better chance of saving it. Not as many chances for being just overwhelmed by the actual shot. And so good on our guys to play better defensively and do all those things to help the goalies out, and the goalies do a good job. And so I know Rick McConnell, the coach, and Danny Carls were both pleased with the effort of everybody, including the goalie. In this case, it's Gavin.
And you look back at their first matchup of the season where Pilot Mound actually took it by a score of 3-1. As I look back, I guess second matchup of the season since they played each
Yep.
other very first game. But in that matchup, Pilot Mound held the shots down to about 25, and even though they gave up close to 60, just checked at 58 shots against, like you said, nice to keep the shots in lower danger areas, more so on the outside from the perimeter. Speaking of playoffs, I mean, goaltending, when you're able to get a goaltender that gets hot, it could take you really far potentially, right? Especially if your team is able to come out and play in front of you. Given the season that Gavin and Yuki have had, I'm sure there's a ton of confidence Rick McConnell has in his goaltenders, maybe more so compared to other years.
Yeah, Rick's pretty pleased with his goalies. And, you take two kids out of U15, and we had both of those boys when I was there. My last year there was their first year there. So I know them really well. We still talk. I mentor them a little bit from my spot. Colin does a great job in Pilot Mound. Rick certainly took them on because you want to take on kids that play in your program. You want to move them up. That's the hardest position to move a player from one level to another just because the goalie spotted me. If you don't have good goaltending, you're in trouble. Your season is lost before it begins in terms of opportunity to win some games or even be close and not be embarrassed, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so having these two guys play as well as they play. In fact, I know Rick is bemoaning the fact that both players are going to probably move on out of the U17 program, although they have a year left. It looks like they may intend to go to U18 at Pilot Mound or elsewhere. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that, talking to them all the time. And so it's going to be interesting to hear what they had to say maybe on your show later on and what's going on. But yeah, the goaltending is so huge. And I know we've been blessed with these two kids and we're happy to have them. And I know Rick's pleased with their play.
And yeah, of course, viewers just heard from Gavin and Yuki in this show. I know that Gavin could potentially be playing junior hockey next year, but would be a huge plus if they're able to stay here in Pilot Mound. I know that they're most likely focused on the present here. Still a lot of hockey left to be played this year. And hey, they'll get another crack at RHA in their final regular season game of the year back in Blackjack Stewart Arena on March 11th. Moving into the U18 female preps, Gordie, taking a look at their past weekend of action. They played on the 12th. Ended up, of course, we talked about this game. I think no, we didn't. I think I talked about it afterwards. But 9-4 loss coming off of that against RHA Winnipeg. This weekend they'll be taking on OHA Black and Delta Black down at the Hockey for All Center. Looking to build off of that offense performance, but also, of course, looking to limit the goals more so this time around, help out their goaltenders a bit. The game plan, defense first, leaning on that identity coming up against OHA and Delta Black coming up.
Yeah, those two games are big. Shawnigan, sorry, is pretty good too. But certainly, yeah, defense first is always the case. And although it doesn't sound like it sometimes, they really work hard at that defensive side of the game. They got some goals. Don't again. I didn't get a chance to watch this game either. Lots of hockey and can't be everywhere. I'm being tied up with so many of the Winnipeg teams now that I'm not going out to Pilot Mound. But anyhow, that their goalies played pretty well again. Lots of shots, and we're certainly looking forward to these visiting teams coming into our province, and hopefully they'll get here through the weather and do all those things because that's going to be a little bit of a complication. I think some of these guys fly, so that won't hurt them
There you
at
go.
all. I know we take the bus usually, so that's always a bit of a different deal. But anyhow, the girls will be fine. They scored some goals, build on that, and in the meantime, try and keep the damn thing out of the net. That's the other important part.
Yeah, and I didn't quite catch Shawnigan Lake School, which they'll be playing against as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And these are three of their final four regular season games. Before they hit the playoffs. So how does I guess the mindset thing shift, especially when it's been a season of many downs on the scoreboard for this team where you're trying to look ahead and get yourself fired up for the postseason. Do you feel like also this group's mentality could be a huge key to them maybe surprising us come playoff time?
Well, you never know. We're going to play in the Division Two side of things, so we're going to play teams that are a little bit closer to our capabilities instead of the top end teams where you get thumped all the time. So, yeah, it'll be games against people that are on an equal level, and you hope that your fitness, that your skill development, that your attitude all takes, moves up and moves forward and brings you to your best game. And you get a strong defensive game, you get some timely goals and you get some great goaltending, and true, you can knock off anybody at any time with that combination of things. So that's the hope. I know that for sure, and I know the girls have stayed positive, even though things have not gone well for them necessarily on the scoreboard throughout the year. They're positive they're going to do better in the playoffs.
Well, you know what could be an inspiration too, I think, for teams in Manitoba's, I mean, it's a totally different league, but the Price division, for example, in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, Gordie Lundar this season, only 2 wins, taking on a team in Murdoch in the first round with 15 wins. Well, Lundar won yesterday, 3-2, and it's playoff time, and anything can happen. As you know, your Gophers, unfortunately, I predicted them to go through into the next round, and St. Paul's upset them as the 11th seed. So I know it's totally different league, and that's on the male side, but it's
It's the
playoffs,
same
and
as playoffs.
anything can happen, right? Especially in the CSSHL's format where it's very fast paced. Looking forward to what the U18 female preps could potentially do coming up in these last few games and come playoff time. As for the U18 male Buffaloes, Gordie, they had the week off. They are set to head to Calgary, Alberta for this upcoming weekend, taking on Yale Hockey Academy, Pacific Coast Hockey Academy, and the North Shore Warriors Hockey Academy. Had Knox Burden on the show and Adam Korshen last week. Knox is coming off of a fantastic weekend a few weekends ago now in Montreal, Quebec. Safe to say that they're going to be leaning on him once again and hoping that everyone follows suit this upcoming weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys have surprised us all year long. First of all, they didn't have any exhibition games. We wondered about that. Didn't think
Yeah.
that was a very good idea. Well, guess what? Who
Oh,
cares what we
yeah,
think?
exactly.
Or what I
Doesn't really
think
matter.
anyway.
Doesn't really matter at all.
Doesn't matter. You go out and you play as well as these guys have played all year long and surprised everybody with their good play, but their consistency of good play and getting better at good play. And then having some skilled guys and being able to other guys contribute to those skilled guys and your best players being your best players. And Courchain and Burton are certainly two of the best players coming from somewhere else, coming from other academies and supporting our program has been wonderful. And they're leaders, and they did a great job. And all the people around them have followed nicely. And yeah, we're looking for upsets all the way through with this team. This has been a great season for them, and it continues the growth and positivity on our U18 program, which started very slowly 4 years ago. And now looks pretty darn decent, when you talk about their place in this league.
I look back at what Anthony Florentino said, and it's resonated with me this season. But I asked him like, what motivates this group, and he said ourselves. Like they're very much about their own business. This is a group that was kind of totally put together as a new group this year too, with the amount of talent that was brought in, and obviously there's been some big time difference makers here on this team this season. Pilot Mound with Burden and, like you said, Korshen being two of those guys. But for this group, given that type of mentality they have, that's, I feel like, a potential a recipe for success come playoff time, just knowing that you don't really listen to the outside noise.
Yeah, if you can avoid doing that, my gosh, you've got an opportunity to be, that's a real neat opportunity just to, be yourselves. If you listen to the podcast, those two guys were on last weekend or last week for us. You hear all about the fact that they're brothers in arms. They go out and they play together and they're in the dorms and they're just together. And when you can build that kind of camaraderie, all kind of good things can happen. When you're disjointed and you're not, not on the same page, or you're a bit, I love the smiles on these two guys and the humility they talked about, and the other players they talked about. They're top two players on our team, maybe, and yet there was no brag. There was about everybody. It's about team and all of those things. So that's a wonderful attribute for us to have and have on our guys. So good, good for them. And yeah, we're looking forward to some really good things this coming weekend and throughout the playoffs.
Just looking at one of the times though, Gordy, this is kind of unfair. 7:30 a.m. game. Is that Central Time on the website?
No, it'll be the time that's played Mountain Standard Time. MST is Mountain Standard Time.
Right.
So yeah, you got a 7:30.
Hold
Well,
on.
you know why that is? There's two reasons for that. There is that it's because the bus coming home, or yeah, we'll be
Right.
taking the bus home, so we get an early game. Always we Sunday mornings we get the Sunday morning game all the time, which is probably not very good for when we're a long way away. So we get the full day to travel home, after the game.
Oh, no doubt. Usually it's just I see 9:30 a.m. as being the going
Well,
quite early for the Buffaloes, but I'm sure they'll be up for it, Gordy. As
yeah.
it'll be, well, a 3 game weekend, another competitive one for sure coming up this weekend for Pilot
Yep.
Mound. Into the
Yep.
marketing side of things,
Yep.
um, like we've talked about already in this show, it's always great when you know, Pilot Mound's able to get out to showcases and showcase their brand, how the team plays and all that great stuff. Go into, I guess, like how much business does that actually bring in for the academy? Like you said, it actually turns a lot of heads and gets this program recognized in many ways.
Well, a couple of weeks ago we had Colin Friedrich on from Tampa Bay, Florida. He found out about Pilot Mound in Blaine, Minnesota, in a tournament. There's all kinds of things. Like, there's a million stories about how people find us. I mean, and we're very busy on all the social media, which we have to be to find players. We're probably one of the busiest organizations in the CSSHL. I know that for a fact because people monitor this stuff and there's statistics and all that stuff. But we're doing all of those kinds of things to be attracted. And but for the first time, I got to tell you this: for the first time, we're going to have a tournament in Pilot Mound. We're going to have a showcase not for our regular season teams, but one of our AAA teams, our 2013 age group teams. The AAA teams, there's 8 teams being invited, or that will find us, I gather, through various means. They'll find us. They'll come out and play 4 games over a weekend, and they'll play in Pilot Mound. They'll get a tour of the dorms. They'll probably have lunch there one day. They'll be around. They get to see Pilot Mound, the town. And we know that once somebody comes to Pilot Mound, they go, oh, what great facilities these are. I mean, we've got a recreation facility that not only has a beautiful arena, a rink part, with a center ice clock. It's big enough for a center ice clock, which most places aren't big enough for. Lots of great room for people to be in, a nice foyer, a curling club, batting cages for baseball in the wintertime. There's a museum in the place, and there's also a movie theater in the damn building. So, who knew that little Pilot Mound in that ugly sort of outside metal building that we've got has got all these beautiful facilities and all this great stuff going on. So when people come there, they go, oh, it's not just a rinky-dinky little town that's got some hockey going on. And of course, the dorms on themselves are the cat's ass. Sorry for the word ass, but they're the cat's ass. I mean, they're the best things in Western Canada for sure, maybe in all of Canada in terms of dorm facilities. They're brand new, basically 3 years. We've got everything in there: fitness, video, commercial kitchen serving 80,000 plus meals every year, a chef, sous chefs, all that good stuff. So, you know what? I'm so excited about the fact that we finally got a tournament. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, and Dayton Halstead, our new guy in terms of all of this stuff, is really excited about it, and we're going to have a tournament there, and it'll be fun. It'll turn some heads. as you said, it will turn some heads, no doubt.
And it seems like it's quite an opportunity, right, to be able to reach even more teams, the AAA level, which of course, Pilot Mound hopes to, of course, attract as much talent as possible in events like this. To have it in your own backyard, in your own rink, is going to be, I think, really special for the academy, and I think also a testament to just. I've talked about it so many times. I've asked this question a lot, but I feel like it keeps coming back because it's relevant is that just to see where things have grown to know that everything is coming together the way it is. I feel like it's just something that maybe even the owners of Pilot Mound never even imagined getting to this point with $1 million dorms and now new programs coming in even more, and then now this AAA showcase.
Yeah, well, you've touched on a sort of a big picture thing, and the owners probably envisioned something, like this. I'm not sure the detail is quite right or what they thought, but I want to be clear on something because we talk about AAA. This is spring team AAA hockey. This is not Manitoba or Winnipeg AAA hockey, so that the folks understand that. This is the spring leagues and spring teams that this tournament's in May. They can go to our website to check that out, of course. The other thing that's another program that's come on, which no one would have thought of, I'm sure, because we do it anyway, but a very formal mentorship program. It's called Fueling Futures in Hockey, Pilot Mound Mentorship Program. We mentor through expertise of all of our folks that are around us. Outside of our program, we bring in people that are really good at having discussions with young people, helping them figure out which direction they're going to. I know I spent some time with Gavin just recently about his future, Yuki in the past, from our guys that we're talking to. So we're talking to all of our players and helping them helping them move forward in their life with giving them options, letting them understand all the details. So, mentorship programs, tournaments, all sorts of other good stuff happening. It's become well, I'm going to say world class. It's one of the top end programs in Canada because we have to be. We have to fit into parents, players, schools, medical things, the league. We had to fit into all of those people's plans, and we do, and we exceed most of those things. So, pretty proud of what the folks, what Nicole and the team and the ownership people at Collins family have put together in Pilot Mound.
And as you mentioned, one of the most active academies, if not the most active in the CSSHL when it comes to posting. You can find them all over social media, PM Buffaloes, and also on their website at pilotmounthockeyacademy.com. As Gordie, we're going to talk more about marketing and more so on recruitment next week, and then we're going to get into the results, of course, as we always do for the teams playing in the academy, and looking forward, of course, into the upcoming weekend of action as playoffs are nearing soon, and can't wait to talk more about that coming up in the future.
Always great to be here, Graham, and really looking forward to the next 4 weeks, I guess, with playoffs and end of the season and all that good stuff. Where I'm excited for all of our kids to continue to showcase their skills.
Always great catching up with Gordie Tumilson as we went through the past weekend of games for the academy, touching on the upcoming weekend for the teams as well, and going into a bit of marketing stuff too during this episode. As for an update on how this weekend is going to play out for Pilot Mound, their U18 male side, their game today is canceled. Against Yale Hockey Academy, I believe. I'm just going to confirm this right now, as they posted a story on their social media page. Game in Calgary today is postponed due to travel delays. Hoping everyone is staying safe. I know that there's been a huge snowstorm that's been hitting the province in the last few days. Especially on Wednesday. Luckily here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, we didn't really get hit hard at all, but I know that it's affecting parts in rural Manitoba where, well, that's where Pilot Mound is situated in. And yeah, just hoping that everyone is staying safe this weekend for all the teams in the academy. But yeah, check out PM Buffaloes on social media for up to the date updates, or up to the minute updates surrounding, what's going on with their teams this upcoming weekend. But that won't stop us from talking about any of the games that do get played coming up next week, as Gordie's going to be joining the show again then. Also going to have some more guests on from the academy, whether that's players or coaches, as episode 23 is going to be coming out next week. It's been a bit of a change in schedule in terms of our release time. We're busy ourselves with the other broadcast partners we're partnered with. Their playoffs are all pretty much started except for the MMJHL, but I know that we're going to be going out to Mound tonight to broadcast a female U18 AAA hockey game. We've been doing high school games all week as well. Our schedule is going to get ridiculously busy here coming up in the next few months, or in the next month, as I should say, is playoff time. That'll pretty much be done in March from the leagues we cover. As for Pilot Mound, they're going to be starting the postseason coming up in March for themselves, all 4 teams in the academy, and can't wait to talk about the playoffs when they do finally arrive. But want to give a special thanks to Gordie Tumilson, as well as Gavin Hildebrand and Yuki Kito on being the guest in this week's episode. A special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into this episode this afternoon. If you are new here and you do enjoy our content, or you've watched many of these episodes before and haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so, as if you subscribe, turn on notification, then you will get updates of when the latest episodes like these will come out, as well as all of the rest of our content. Want to throw a shout out to Pilot Mound's wonderful sponsors and partners for not only supporting them, but continuing to support our coverage of the Buffaloes podcast on our network, G-Show Productions, and also to our main sponsors on our network, and Elite Prospects, Goaltenders, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Movement Fitness and Performance, and Terrico for sponsoring another edition of this great show. We're going to be back next week for episode 23, season 3. Until then, Buffaloes Nation, it's been your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth, peacing out and waving so long. Stay safe and warm this weekend coming up. If there's cold weather and snow coming your way, enjoy all the great hockey that is going to be on tap for the Buffaloes this weekend as well, or anything else that you may enjoy watching in terms of within the hockey world. I know that Team Canada and Men's Olympics, they've punched their ticket into the gold medal games, so we also got that on Sunday for all the Canadian hockey fans out there. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. We're going to send you off with Tyson Unro's March of the Buffaloes theme here on the Buffaloes podcast, with another episode in the books. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for watching.